Hi there. Hope everyone is having or has had a great week. It's winding down now, heading into the weekend, and looking forward to a nice weekend of rest. um, I wanted to share something that I wrote a long time ago. I actually wrote in 2017, and uh, this week, or not even just this week, probably for the last definitely a month, the Lord's been dealing with my heart about something. And so I looked it up. I had some time and I looked up what I had written a long time ago because I remembered, like, right when the Lord started dealing with me, I knew I was like, oh, he's not finished with me yet on that. There's an old song, he's still working on me, and that's definitely true in my life. He's still definitely having to do a lot of work on me, but anyways, I looked it up and I'm going to share that with you today, and then kind of share with you what he's speaking my heart lately. So this was from November of 2017, and I had titled it Learning to Let Go. It says, it seems to me my life has been a journey, a process of learning to let go and trust God. I'm a slow learner, obviously, and I am still learning how to let go and trust God. I remember the first day I think I really came to realization that I had an issue with letting go and trusting God. It was several years ago. My sister, who at the time lived in Japan, called and invited our oldest son Elisha, who was 14 years old at the time, to come to Japan for a month visit. My first answer was no way. I then told my husband about it and about the invitation, and he said, and why not? And I gave him my list of reasons. I informed him this was not up for discussion, but he loves me and he knows how to get to me. So he said, wow, okay, but you need to really think about it. Needless to say, I did. I thought about it a lot. I discussed it with other friends, other moms, asking what they would do. Finally, one day when I was out for a run, and by this time my heart had softened a bit, I was running and talking to the Lord. I was actually giving him all my reasons why this couldn't happen. I realized that while a lot of moms learn to let go when their kids go off to school, I didn't have to do that. I homeschooled our children, and I had never really learned to let go. I was running and praying, and I felt God pulling at my heart. I kept saying, no, what if this happens? What if that happens? I mean, he has to fly to Atlanta by himself. Then he would meet his uncle and fly to Japan. He's never been away that long, and so on. Just like I'm typing this now, I heard God speaking into my heart. He said, Anna, do you not trust me to take care of him? You know, he's mine. I gave him to you. I gave him to you to love, nurture, raise him, but ultimately, he is mine. It's time for you to let go. Trust me to take care of him. And he needs to find out who he is without you. I will take care of him. I stopped in my tracks. I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to let go. I went home. I phoned my sister to tell her Elisha was coming to Japan. I remember telling Gordon I had decided Elisha should go. He looked at me and smiled. He said, what changed your mind? I did not tell him until 3 years later that God spoke to my heart. You see, fear still held me captive, doubting myself. Ultimately, I was probably really doubting that God had spoke that into my heart. Looking back, I see God was taking me on a journey of learning to let go because he longed for me to trust him. The very next year, Elisha had the opportunity to go to Nicaragua on a missions trip with a local church group. I didn't even hesitate. I saw God's hand in every decision about it and was able to rest knowing God would take care of him. Thinking I had learned the lesson and was ready to move on, not realizing that God was just starting me on this journey. There were many things ahead. I'd have to learn to let go and trust him. Fear of change caused me to hold tight to ideas, beliefs, people, family. Since that day, I've had to learn over and over again to let go. To let go of our 3 precious children because he's more than able to take care of them. They are his, Do I get it perfect every time? Absolutely not. I have learned He is more than able to keep that which I commit to Him. In April of 2016, God showed Himself to be faithful to me again. Our next son, Isaiah, made a decision that changed our family forever. At the time, it was devastating. However, it changed our family for the better. On that day, I could not see it, and I certainly did not know it. On that day, I was forced to let go. I had no control over the events that would follow our lives for over a year. I had never experienced fear at this level, and it completely consumed me. I stood at my door, helpless, hopeless, crying, praying, and again I heard God speak to my heart and say, Anna, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. I will never leave you nor forsake you. I turned around, dropped to my knees in front of our children, and said, God is our only hope. Without Him, we have nothing. Within a few hours, we began to see God step into our lives in His splendor. As the song says, He comes in His splendor and changes the whole room. He came in, He changed our whole life. So I can write about that soon, other experiences of God in His splendor. But for now, I'm realizing the more things people I learn to let go, the better, because God has the plan. I don't have to work things out. I don't have to worry. I don't have to be afraid. I can rest and know that the love of Christ which passes knowledge, that we may be filled with all the fullness of God, and that He's more than able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us. Ephesians 3:19 and 20. He will take care of me. That day, I had to let go of my child, my ideas, our finances, the places we called home. I had to learn to trust Him to take care of us. I like to have a plan. I like to see the path ahead. What I have learned is trusting Him requires me to let go. It requires faith. It's not always easy. He longs to take care of me, to show me His splendor, His ideas, His ways, His love, His plan. He's faithful. He's a good, good Father. He's true. He loves. He never leaves. He never forsakes. He makes ways when there seems to be no way. So today, I can stand with loved ones and sing and worship when the night has come and the way is dark, and that moon is the only light you see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. As long as you stand by me. He will stand by you. He stands with me every day, every step of this journey. Not quietly, not shyly, but boldly, He stands by me. He longs for me to rest in Him. He loves me. His ways, His plans, His ideas are so much better than ours, our plans and our ideas. As it turns out, learning to let go, to trust God, is the best thing that ever happened to me. Knowing His love, His faithfulness surpasses anything I've ever known. So that was way back in 2017. However, it's definitely been a journey because He's still teaching me to let go every day. A few years ago, our middle son, again, Isaiah, he joined the military and went to boot camp, and it was some hard days there. I always knew he wanted to go, and he finally did it. And we couldn't have much contact, only letters during his time at boot camp. And from there, he came home for a few days, and truthfully, I have not seen him since. So February made a year. He's stationed out west, and it's hard. It's hard as a mom to be able to just let go of your children. But He has a better plan than I do. And then there was our daughter, our last one at home, and she is now completing her 3rd year at a college in South Carolina. So there was the year that 3 years ago when she went off to school, and she was the last of our 3. And again, I had to let go. I had to depend on the Lord to take care of her, knowing that I couldn't always be there, and that His plan for her life was much bigger than anything that I could see. And there has been some hard days. I miss her very much. However, I get to see her often. She came home last weekend for Easter. She'll be back in a few weeks for the summer. And she communicates well. We talk daily. And the things I've seen God do in her life in these 3 years way surpass anything that I even thought about. The people that I've seen her touch their lives. I've gone to her school, visited her there many times, and I always meet new people when I go, new friends of hers, and kind of hear parts of their story and how they met or how, they're interacting together. And when I go there, I see God working through her, and I'm sure he's working through the school and her friends and pouring into her life as well. But it's amazing as a parent to go and see how he's working in their lives and he's touching other people's lives, and that to me warms my heart and makes it all okay. And so it's just another thing of having to let go. And then recently, I wasn't even thinking about letting go. I was just thinking, just going on my regular life. And our worship leader at church messaged me an old song. It's called Let Go and Let Jesus Take Over. And he said, can you sing this song? And he had just heard it. He didn't know it. And I listened to it, and I knew I had heard it many years ago. I had actually sang it many years ago. And so I said, sure. And I began to practice it. And as I began to practice it, I knew the Lord was speaking to me again. He was like, here's this is for you. It may be for someone else too, but he was like handing me this song saying, let go and let Jesus take over. And so I've sang it several times at church, and every time I know, like, I can feel his presence, and I know that he's saying, Anna, let go of this situation or that situation or this hurt or this bitterness. He's really, I can be hurt, and I can move on, and I can pretend that everything is perfectly fine. However, I remember I'm not like Jesus, who forgives and forgets. I can store those things, and then on another day, they can pop right back into my mind, and I'm reminded word for word whatever was said or done that maybe hurt me, and I can feast on that. If I'm not very careful, I can let it depress me. I can let it wreak havoc in my life. I have to catch it and let it go and let Jesus take over. And I really feel like in the last few months, that's how he's been working with me about letting go. I knew as soon as I started singing it that he was speaking to my heart. It does not come easy. I get anxious, I worry, I fret, I scream in prayer to God. And all the while, he's just asking me to let go. Let go, let him take care of it, and he will work it all out. He will convict. He will bring back the joy, restore the joy into me. And he's fully able to take care of anything, just like, in the beginning when I really realized he was working with me over our son going to Japan. He was like, I gave him to you. I am fully capable of taking care. Do you think, that in my mind, that was like, do you think you can take better care of him than I can? And I have to laugh because I'm like, there's no way I can take better care of anybody than the Lord can. And, just knowing that he's fully able to take care of anything that comes into our lives. He sees the bigger picture. He definitely has a plan. His thoughts and ways are higher than ours. And he has something so much better for us. And we can't always see it or picture it. But, I really desire to walk in his plans, to walk in his way, because I know it's so much better than mine. He's so much more faithful, and he's so true, and he has such a better plan than I can imagine. I may think sometimes that I have things figured out, and then he does something that totally blindsides me, and I realize, this is crazy. Like, he has such a better plan than me. Um, Last summer, my oldest son was out of work. He had been working on in the field away, and I had prayed and prayed and prayed that the Lord would, open the door for him somewhere else, and that he would not be on the road because it was many hours. He was gone all the time. Um, and I had just prayed and prayed and prayed about this. Well, he finally quit his job on the road, came home. He was exhausted. He said, "Mom, I'm going to just take some time and just recuperate, and then I'll look for a job." And so I said, "Okay, that's fine." And he's always a worker, so he had his hand like in tons of little things, constantly doing something. And one day, I had a little gathering at my house. It was a Christmas in July party, and we invited some friends over, and just a few came, not very many. Um, but one of them, one of our friends that we've known for years, is sitting there on the couch, and he says to Elisha, "I think I have a job you might like." And he gives him the information. Elisha totally gets excited. He that very night puts in his application, gets the job. It's a local job. It's at a school in the area. He is teaching the very thing he went to school for. He loves it. And I never thought of that option. I never thought of him using his degree in that way. And it was just so much higher, so much bigger than what I had even thought about. I was constantly looking at jobs, and I was saying, "Do you want to do this or do you want to do that? You have these degrees. Do you want to, I was trying to figure all this stuff out, when all the while, God had a much bigger plan for him. This has opened up a door in his life that whether he stays there or moves on to something else bigger, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's opened up a door in his life that has been wonderful. He's at home every evening. That's wonderful. All the things I had prayed for, but I just couldn't picture. And I was trying to figure out and place it. And all the while, the Lord had a much bigger plan, a much better plan. And so, I don't know. I still struggle to this day. We have a very close friend in our family that is leaving next week to go in the military. And I have struggled with this because she's a very close friend of the family. And I know her life's going to change, and ours is going to change. And I keep hearing the Lord say, "I have a bigger plan. I have a better plan than any that you see." And so, as you can see, I'm still struggling with letting go and just letting God take the wheel. I think that's a song too, as well. But Isaiah 55:8-9 says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." And Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." And I know his word is true. I know he's faithful, and he's just working in my life again. I'm still on this journey of learning to let go and to let God take over. And, the faster that I can learn to do that, the faster I can learn to, not do the worry part, not do the anxious part, not do even the try to figure this out part, but just give it to him. Go to him in prayer. Find scriptures that speak to my heart, that give me peace. That scripture I've shared several times. Peace I give to you, my peace I give to you. I do not give as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. Um, and that scripture is just, just popping up daily in my life. He just reminds me daily, like, hey, give it to me. I'll give you your peace. I'll give you your joy. I'll give you your strength. And my ways are so much higher than your ways. My thoughts are so much better than yours, and you have no clue what God has for you. And so that's not, that's just something that it's hard for me to lean into because I want to figure everything out. I want to see I want to fit all the pieces in the puzzle, and walking with God is not always like that. We can't always figure everything out. That's why it's a faith walk. That's why we walk by faith. We have to learn to trust Him and give our cares and our concerns to Him, and He will direct our paths. And I just wanted to share that because I just really, like I said, a couple months ago in that song, when our worship leader asked me to sing that song, it just really started coming to my mind, just all the ways that He's still teaching me to let go and let Him take over. And then I remembered I had written that back. I didn't know how far back it was. I didn't even remember what I had written. I just looked it up because I keep it all in a file. And I thought, oh wow, so much has happened since then, and He's still, I'm a slow learner, because He's still having to just constantly remind me. And when I'm not doing it, He'll throw something right in my face, like He did through our worship leader, like, hey, here it is. And I'm so thankful, though, for the Lord and all that He does. And I'm thankful that His ways are higher than ours. I am thankful that His thoughts are so much better than ours. So I just want to encourage you, whatever's going on in your life, the faster you can let go and let God take over, the better off that you will be, because He has great plans for you. His thoughts are higher than ours, and He has plans to prosper us, and He has our good in mind always. And you just never know what God is doing. It's a mystery, what He's going to do next. That's why it's great. When you read a book or you watch a movie, you're, on edge because you're waiting for what's going to happen next. And, I definitely feel like the walk with the Lord is like that. Like, what's He going to do next in a positive way? Everybody has negative things that happen in their lives, but I want to be excited about the positive things that He has for us, the plans that He has for us. And so I just encourage you today to lean into Him, let go, and just, really lean into trusting Him and knowing that He's faithful to keep that which we commit to Him. That's another scripture. I'm not sure where it's at, but, I have just feasted on that scripture for years. I have prayed in my prayer life a lot. I give these children to you, and they're not children anymore. They're adults, but I gave them to you when they were born. We had dedication service at the church, and when I gave the children to the Lord, and it says He'll keep that which we commit to Him. Does it always look the way we want it to? No. Definitely not. But again, we can't see the end picture. And so we just have to lean on Him, trust in Him that He's got our good in mind. And we have given our children to the Lord, and not just our children, we've given our lives to the Lord, our hearts to the Lord, and He will keep whatever you commit to Him, whether it's, your family, whether it's your, just things in life that come up, He will keep it if you commit it to Him. And so just want to encourage you with that this weekend. And I hope everybody has a great weekend.